In that case, we can go ahead and get started again, with you guys now having your second half of your 1,000 gold to spend.
Yes, our second half of 1,000, because that's how much we have. 100,000, perhaps?
Yeah, 100,000.
I'm so sorry, Seven. Well, shit, I wasn't really prepared for this. I think Emeris was looking at rune staves.
Yes! Would Caspian Embers like to go and go ahead and look at rune staves?
You'll need to explain to me how rune staves work and why they're good.
I can do that. What?
Why on earth I might want to corrupt Caspian's aesthetic with a staff.
Emeris also doesn't really want a staff. She's thinking about putting it in her sword. But, what rune staves do is they let you gain... You know how clerics can spontaneously cast cure spells?
Mm-hmm.
Rune staves let you do that with up to 3 to 5 spells that are in the staff.
Cool.
Like, for example, the Rune Staff of Fire lets you spontaneously cast Scorching Ray, Fireball, Burning Hands, and other stuff like that.
Neat.
It's essentially more known spells for sorcerers or spontaneous casting for wizards, because you can expend a prepared spell to cast those spells.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like an item worthless to an Arcanist.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially an Arcanist with quick study. Like Soren.
Soren ready to cast any spell on his list at any time.
Any spell in his book, which I have kept fairly small so that Seven doesn't murder me.
Good.
Oh, sure, we have to placate the DM, but when Seven's the player, he gets to murder me.
We all know that you didn't like Malum.
I wasn't saying Malum.
Fight.
Wait, who else were you vaguing then?
I was making Malum.
If you guys would like, actually, you'll find a skin store.
Excuse me?
A skin store.
Right. Okay, those exist. I forgot about those.
Can you please explain to me?
These are psychoactive skins, magic items that appear to be like folded cloths or sometimes skins, depending on the item, which when touched, worn, sort of wrap around you like becoming a second skin, and then when make not being visible until activated, and then when activated they look whack.
And then they do things. It's basically a slotless item that covers your whole you.
That's nasty.
They're a little bit gross. I love them. They're very funny.
I want to play an ooze that just keeps shoving themselves into skins.
You should play that. That's your next character.
Fist-sized blob of
Seven.
murky ectoplasm shivers faintly in the night. Once the psychoactive skin is donned, the ball unfolds, extends, and surrounds a medium or smaller wearer's skin entire body in a variegated second skin, granting the wearer access to a particular array of abilities.
I don't even remember what any of the skins do.
7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to haunt you with an ooze.
No.
Praise the Jello.
Praise the Jello.
There's a Skin of the Celestial, which grants you the abilities of celestial creatures. Skin of the Celestial Embrace, which grants you the abilities of angelic creatures. Skin of the Chameleon, which grants you a +10 competence bonus on hide checks constantly.
Hey, you know who needs that?
The
Not you.
The ring of the, the Ring of the Chameleon, I think, is underpriced, actually. Right. Wait, no, because it's hide. Because the Skin of the Chameleon is +10.
The skins are basically a slotless item.
The thing is, I've also found other items that give you +10, and they're more +10 to hide, and they're more expensive than the Ring of Chameleon.
Whistles.
I mentioned this because Jay was looking at one.
Hey.
Yeah, the Ring of Chameleon.
Aesthetic. No touchy.
+10 on head, disguise self at will. There's an identical robe. The robe of blending, +10 on hide, disguise self at will, is 30,000. One's in the DM.
Robes are just expensive for some fucking.
Yeah.
They're cool because it's a robe. Then I'm not gonna buy a robe that does this.
Yeah. Skin of the Claw, which grants you claw attacks at 1d6.
If you're a psychic warrior.
Ah.
It's in the first line of that
Yes,
description.
it does. Depression.
That does not interest us.
The Skin of the Defender grants you +4 enhancement bonus on your natural armor. Skin of Ectoplasmic armor gains +8 armor bonus.
Jesus.
But it's treated as armor.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
but
that's
it's
for
armor.
if you that's for
Yeah.
if you don't have armor.
Because it has a max dex bonus and a 25% armor, arcane spell failure chance.
Yikes.
Don't know why you'd use that instead of regular armor, but alright.
If you don't want to look, if your DM is persnickety and you don't want to look like you're wearing armor, because you can just activate it and dismiss it at will.
You know, that's fair.
Seth, honestly, like, get
Seth,
that.
yeah.
Gonna be real. If it wasn't, like, a heavy armor equivalent and she wasn't in 5e. Fiend and Fiendish Embrace, which are the same as the other ones. Fiery Response, which blasts people with fire. Skin of the Hero, which is just +3 to armor class and d20 rolls. Skin of Iron, Skin of Nimbleness, +10 bonus on acrobatics checks. Skin of Power Dampening.
That's for silence.
Actually, it works on spell-like abilities and spells as well. Are minimized
No, it does.
for 1 round, but I think you can only activate it. How? Oh, you can activate it 3 times per day. Useful if you're getting targeted by Delilah. Only 10,000 gold. Skin of the Scion. And Skin of the Spider. Lets you climb things. And Skin of the Troll.
And Skin of the Troll.
Which heals you 5 points of damage per round.
Per minute.
Per minute. Also regrows lost portions of your body and allows you to reattach severed limbs.
Boy, do we have 61,000 gold to spend? We do, but we're probably not.
No.
The thing is, that's very useful because it's reusable limb regeneration.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is very good.
Not something you probably want to buy, but very good. So, would you...
Obviously, we need Skin of the Scion, which gives you extra power points when you're a Scion.
Mm-hmm. So, you guys interested in buying skins?
I mean, the skin of power dampening is actually kind of tempting.
I don't know what it does.
It minimizes incoming spell effects. Activatable a certain
3
number of
times per
times per
day.
day. Like if you got hit with a lightning bolt from a 5th level wizard, you take 5 points of damage, or 2 if you save.
Neat.
You know how...
That is
That's
very
nice on a,
useful.
that's nice on a disintegrate if you fail.
That's very nice on a disintegrate if you fail.
10,000 gold.
That was exactly my thinking.
Skin.
Would you like to purchase a skin?
I think I might want to purchase a skin.
How expensive is the
It
skin?
is 10,000 gold.
10,000.
I think we can afford to buy you some skin.
I would like to not get disintegrated. I don't have great fortitude saves. Cassie has proven this time and again.
Every time poison comes into the room, Valence fails and becomes immune, and Cassie just drops dead.
Maybe I do need that goblet of poison detection.
Honestly, just have Valence drink everything first.
Alright, I'm gonna buy the skin.
Valence
of
quietly,
dancing.
I'm currently synthesizing the poison. Soon I'll be able to spit this at my enemies, and Cat's like, okay, I think you've synthesized a little too much today. That is not
That's a
helpful,
rogue
sir.
That's a rogue talent!
Oh my god, that is a rogue talent. I hate that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember. Mila, like, chugged some poison, and we just carried her, and then eventually just kind of threw up.
Spell like ability, power, or silence.
I'm Chaya!
I'm Chaya. I am now synthesizing the poison. Cassie will just glow faintly blue when she wears it.
Can I make it not glow?
Yeah, well, it's not so much faint blue cast. It's
What?
that's how it's described. Your body has a faint blue cast while you wear this translucent skin.
Fascinating.
When they can be switched on-off,
Mm-hmm.
and when off, you can't see them at all.
I believe so.
Yes.
A deployed skin completely covers the wearer and all his equipment, but allows him to see, hear, and breathe normally. It rolls away from various parts of the body as needed, such as when the wearer needs to eat or access a backpack. Held items or items specifically excluded are not covered up. Up to 3 skins can be worn simultaneously, although only the outermost is active at any given moment. Skin layers can be changed as a standard action, which causes the desired lower layer skin to come to the surface.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Are you weird to touch at all?
No, because the thing is they're not really physical things. It's ectoplasm.
Sounds gooey.
It's like
Please,
pseudo-existent goo.
Yeah.
please don't cover my wife in goo.
Why is this soup like 98% rice? Grumble, grumble.
No.
It was promised chicken
That's
and
not
rice,
a soup.
not rice
That's a
and
skin.
chicken. I'm eating soup.
You're eating skin.
I fucking hope not.
Oh my god. No, she's not weird to touch at all, although she's... when active, she just sort of glows blue. The thing is, the skin of the flame just sort of makes it look like your body just occasionally gets flame patterns, which implies to me that they have passive effects while worn.
That's fair.
And Cassie's is being slightly blue-tinged. Like, just... You know the aura of power where someone, like, is faintly, like, sort of faintly radiates a color but isn't actually glowing, if that makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like that.
Ominous. Please don't wear that at all times.
No. I won't.
Just slap that in your face when you're going into combat.
Keep it in a pouch on, like, her belt. Stick a hand in whenever she needs it.
I mean, actually, it's just a standard
Gross.
action to don it, because it's a command. Because it's just a ball. It's like this swirling, wispy energy. When not active, it's just a... It looks almost like a crystal ball full of mist, except that there's no ball holding the mist.
Fair.
This is like a not solid object, but I am just imagining it as like a cup of jello that you shove your hand in and then it covers your body. I know that's not what it is, but it's what my brain wants to
No, that's an
envision.
ooze symbiote. Those are different things.
Oh, how to be Venom?
God.
how to become a Marvel character in one easy step.
Jello in pocket.
Pocket Jello. We are Jello. Anyways, cool. Skin of power dampening.
Indeed.
Damping, rather.
How many times does it work a day?
3. And it
3.
lasts for a
Ooh.
round. This is important if your enemy has multiple turns.
Hey! What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, nothing. It's not like Delilah commented about having a third turn previously.
Yeah, I know, and I don't like it. I'm beginning to return to dread.
Oh no! Do not dread.
If she gets 3 turns a turn, I'm leaving.
Okay, cool. That's an item that I have now.
Yes. So,
What happened to rune staffs?
I don't know. Is Caspian interested in buying a rune staff?
I don't know. I don't know what the rune staves are. Like, my options. All I was told is we're going to go find rune staves, and then we started talking about skin.
I'm sorry. Well,
I've been false advertised to all night.
oh. Okay. Rune staves. Let me. Emeris will go ahead and lead Caspian to. Where are Rootscraft staves described?
They're in the magic item
I know, and
compendium.
I'm finding the listings for them, but I'm not finding.
What are you trying? Oh,
The rules on them. It might be at the start of the chapter. Well, while you look that up, I can go over them. Emeris is going to take Caspian from the shop where they got his fun quill and his. Oh boy, many of these are quite expensive.
Yes.
From where they got him his quill and his rod of metamagic to a next door staff with the various rune staves.
A next door staff,
Next
huh?
door
next
store.
door staff.
Ay, ay. And is going to start browsing the various staves. Rune Staff of Abjuration. One of these is the Rune Staff of the Architect, move earth, stone shape, wall of stone, and wood shape.
I have a loot that does all that.
You do! Staff of the Artisan, Fabricate, Major Creation, Mending, and Minor Creation. Staff of the Assassin.
don't say it like that.
Is actually theoretically within your price range. It's 10,000 GP. Greater invisibility, obscuring mist, pass without trace, and poison. The Rune Staff of Cacophony.
I really think I'm gonna say Kakova.
No. The Rune Staff of Cacophony has Shout, Shout Greater, Soundburst, and Sympathetic Vibration.
I don't know what sympathetic vibration is, but I like the rest of those
I
spells.
also don't know what Sympathetic Vibration is.
Let's find out. By tuning yourself to a freestanding structure, such what? That is weirdly worded. By tuning yourself to a freestanding structure,
I think that should be such as
Such you can-
something, something, something.
Okay, yeah. I think the SRD just has a bad transcription here. Oh well. You can create a damaging vibration within it. Once it begins, the vibration deals 2d10 points of damage to the target structure. Hardness has no effect on the spell's damage. You can choose at the time of casting to limit the duration of the spell. Otherwise, it lasts around a level. If the spell is cast upon a target that is not freestanding, the surrounding stone dissipates the effect and no damage occurs. This cannot damage creatures, including constructs. Since a structure is an unattended object, it receives no saving throw to resist the effect. It is a 6th level spell, casting time of 10 minutes at a range of touch. So basically, if you hate a watchtower, you can knock down the watchtower.
It's a 6th level bard spell.
I think that means I can't use it then, right?
I think so.
Because it's spontaneous cast, but I still need the slot.
Yes.
You still need the slot.
So I can't use that.
You can't use that.
But you can use the other ones.
I will never be able to use that.
Well, don't you have 5th level bard spells?
Yes, but you said we're not leveling up anymore.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm never getting 6.
There's the Rune Staff of Charming, which is Charm Monster and Charm Person. Very safe. Rune Staff of Conjuration. The Rune Staff of Destruction. Disintegrate, Earthquake, and Shatter.
That's very sexy.
The Rune Staff of Divination. Detect secret doors, locate creature, locate object, prying eyes, tongues, and true seeing. Rune Staff of Earth and Stone. Most of these are incredibly expensive.
Yeah, rune staff costs are very similar to staff costs, which is whack.
What were the spells in that one staff
Which one?
again? The one that had shout in it?
Shout, greater,
That's useless to me.
sound burst, and sympathetic vibration.
Is Shout Greater 6th level?
It's 6th level.
Oh, gross.
Gross.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother paying out the ass for a 4th and a 2nd level spell. That's not worth it.
Rune Staff of Eyes.
Like, that's a really good one that Caspian does want, but it's not worth it if you can't get the 6th level spells, which you can't.
The Rune Staff of Fire has Burning Hands, Fireball, and Wall of Fire.
You skipped over some very fun
Did I?
ones here, Seven.
Would you like to fill them in?
Rune Staff of Entrapment, Dimensional Anchor, and Odaluk's Resilient Sphere. For only 12,000 GP.
Jeez.
Those are, I believe, both 4th level spells.
Rune Staff of Get Targeted by the DM. No. That's Rune Staff of Die.
Rune Staff of Ethereal Action, Blink, and Ethereal Jaunt.
Ooh.
Ethereal Jaunt is a pretty damn high-level spell, though. Rune Staff of Evocation, Chain Lightning, Fireball, Ice Storm, Magic Missile, Shatter, Wall of Force. All very good spells.
Most of which I believe are 6th or higher. Cannot express enough that these are not super useful items to a bard, specifically because my spell slots suck. I'm a half-caster. What do I do with the rest of my time? Nothing.
Okay.
Bards are so weird.
You could theoretically custom order one of these.
That sounds expensive. And time-consuming.
Maybe time-consuming.
Which we don't have. The problem is, for these to really be worthwhile, I'd need things not on the bard list, really, unless I'm going to use them heavily, but if I was going to use them heavily, I probably would already know them. Because I have Sienna slots, and other spell lists don't scale the way mine do, so it's like, oh, this is a spell that's actually decent for my level. It's a 6th level slot. Because, of course, for a full caster, Emeris has 7th level spells, so it's like, oh, of course 6th and 7th makes sense for you. I'm like, it doesn't. So I'd have to go for babier spells, which are not gonna help me. You know? Like, it's fine, I just... Yeah. Like, pal, I've got 2 5th level slots. You're lucky. You're lucky I have those.
Rune Staff of Illusion. Staff of Insanity, Necromancy. Rune Staff of Power.
Oh, yeah, it's an alternate version of the Staff of Power. It just doesn't come with the I Explode Now button, because it doesn't have charges.
Yeah, I suppose that these aren't as tasty for a bard.
Nah.
Oh well.
Nah, they're just kind of bitter. They're not tasty, they're just bitter. I'm sure they're tasty to Emeris, though. Go off. Get a cool stick.
Yeah.
What?
Emeris can find
What?
a good staff, I suppose.
What you thinking of?
The one that seemed like cool but also reasonable is the Rune Staff of Fire, mostly because these like to include very high level spells. Like the Rune Staff of Illumination is Dancing Lights, Daylight, Flare, all seem normal. Sunburst. Oh. It's because sun effects are very limited, are intentionally very limited in D&D, because things that are weak to sunlight are often very weak to sunlight. Vampires are, theoretically... Vampires in actually, I'm going to clarify this. Vampires in vanilla, in base D&D, are destroyed, utterly, after 2 rounds of sunlight exposure. Yeah. The theoretical answer... The theoretical answer of what sunlight does to vampires is it shuts down all of their vampiric powers. Their vampiric powers do not function in sunlight. Um, the thing is, okay, to clarify, the version of vampires that I feel fits best with D&D and their aversion to sunlight is the none of their powers work in sunlight. No, it doesn't. Also because their vampire powers stop functioning is incredibly difficult to run, is the problem. The actual... Kill them in their coffin or destroy their coffin ahead of time. Alternatively, find a way to Alternatively, immerse them in running water. Mm-hmm. Or find a way to trap the gas. Or... No, a single resilient sphere would trap it. That's true. I think that would work, because being Miss is a vampiric power. Yeah, that's part of the issue is I don't like D&D's version, and I haven't solidified a version of my own yet. That's part of the problem. I know. That would actually work, yes. I mean, throwing him onto Celestia or the plane of positive energy would kill him. And now you see why Teleportation Circle is 9th level. Because it can be used as a baleful teleport. That's pretty much 3 hours. Call up Equus. I will tell you this. I will tell you this. A Sunbeam spell will stagger Silas for a turn. That is a part. That is a part of the D&D thing that I'm willing to that I do like and I'm willing to keep. Sunlight staggers vampires. That render. I don't like that it staggers them, and then they still have only one round in which they have only one action to escape or just be completely obliterated. I hate that. I will say that sunlight will stagger a vampire, especially a sun spell. Yes. Yes. And, I think, and, Sunbeam is probably, Sunbeam or Sunburst is probably not long enough to, keep his vampire powers shut off for a turn. Mostly because, dear God, is that template hard to unapply? That's the main reason, that I don't do that, and Black Rose has a parasol, and the sauce doesn't fight outside. Because it's so hard. It's so hard to turn off Vampire. It does 15,000 things. It sucks. That also works. Yeah, okay. Like, the thing is, it adds skill bonuses, which some of them should turn off. Well, that's valid. I think if you kill him with a sunbeam... Yeah, if you bring him to 0 with a sunbeam... Yeah, the thing, he's high enough level that you need to kill him with it. If you kill him with a sunbeam, he will be utterly destroyed. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and rule those two things, because honestly, that puts it about on par, because the problem is, the listed options in D&D are find their coffin, dunk them in water, find their coffin, dunk them in water, or somehow they end up in the sun. And that's literally the only ways. Or, alternatively, stake them so that you can take them to a body of water or the sun. Telekinesis. No, she's not trying to. She just removes the stake from Silas, at which point he can dispel it, because he's inside. And he's a caster. Smile! Corpse heist 2! 40% chance of killing them both! 60% chance of getting Valence killed! Is it the portable hole thing? No. The funny thing is, actually, you could use that on either of them, and I don't think it would actually work very well. No, it wouldn't work at all. No, the portable hole trick, it wouldn't work on either of them. Nope. It wouldn't work it would not work on Delilah for obvious reasons, and I can't explain why it wouldn't work on Silas. That's a spoiler. She just plain shifts herself back from the astral sea. It would! Emeris is so grateful. Please, please don't get targeted. She really does not want him to die. Actually, I don't think you need to be worried about that in this fight, because part of the reason why the Cedarwoods are getting as many turns as they are is the fight with them is the party versus Silas and Delilah, and that's it. Well, the thing is, Silas doesn't get... do you want me to tell you what's up? Okay, actually, yes, because you're assuming something incorrectly. Delilah has 3 turns, Silas has 2. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point. Yes. Mm-hmm. Delilah does not intend to focus people. Silas! Yeah? Emeris would lose. Okay, that might win. A warning. Delilah is several levels higher than Emeris. Delilah has... Spoilers. Oh, Equus would still win. I will remind you that in the mass combat, Delilah is a sufficient distraction for Equus that neither of them matter. He has 21 levels, he has Archmage abilities. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mystic Theurge is pretty good. You know what? Understandable. Have a nice day. There's a character lined up for Sauce who's a Mystic Theurge. It's Davina. Anyway, it's Davina. Anywho... So... Okay, who didn't think that Davina was a... Like... Her name... You... Yeah, that's fair, actually. Well, she's a cleric of Minara. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair and valid. Anyway. Valence, Cassandra, Tenny, Tishvin. Ah! Terrible, awful, horrible next. Speaking of next... Emeris might need to custom order... The problem with it, right, is the preset rune staves are somewhat underwhelming. Especially if you're not looning them. The only one she's interested in is the Rune Staff of Fire, so I'd need to design one from the ground up, which takes too long on an NPC, especially if no player character is also interested. Yeah, that's why I was a bit downed when they weren't actually good for Caspian. Like, I totally understood and agreed. We might design... Maybe we'll design rune staves later. Because these rune staves are bad and boring, so... A custom order rune staff would be rune staffs that don't have a uniting theme. We can make better rune staffs that aren't nearly as expensive. You know? But that doesn't have to be an at-the-moment thing. Emeris is going to, spend some money to get her rapier included with the Yurthak horn, which means it now has a really cool spiraling pattern. Because, the Yurthak horns have the same spiraling pattern. Also, knockback is just very useful. only if we're dueling. If you ask me not to, I won't. Well, you wouldn't be falling. I'd be hitting you. The idea is to... Oh, I suppose, yes. Alright. I feel like I should also get him for what that just implied. Emeris, who does not understand the origins of it and thinks that it's actually a sex thing. So, does Cassie want to go scrolls shopping? Okay, so, you have 14 scrolls of, I don't know what these are, and they're also kind of historically relevant. We can excuse you don't use these because they're historically relevant, if you would like me to go ahead and convert them into scrolls cash, TM. Alright, these scrolls range from level 1, so go, you know what? Weighting that is hard, and these are of historical value, so we're just going to roll straight up 1 through 5. Just a D5, even chance for all of them. They aren't actually evenly distributed between 1 and 5. 5 is kind of rare. Actually, have you gotten a 6th level scroll from one of these? The highest was a Raised Dead, right? Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go for the, Cassie, I would like you to make a history check. Can anyone help with that? I'm picking you. Oh my god. Oh my god. Emeris. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Emeris could try. She's a 50% chance. Valence! What's your charisma? You should probably try switching it. For the history. Alright! With that, you can go ahead and, with improved historical relevance, I'm going to go ahead and just put these scrolls on an even weight between level 1 and level 6. So go ahead and roll me d6s to determine the levels of the spells, and we will... Oh my gosh! So many 5s! No 6s, but so many 5s! Well... I have good news. Every 5th level scroll is worth 1,125 gold pieces. So... Yes. 21st level scroll. I mean, there is a... I do know that the party has access to a 21st level scroll. I've no idea what you did with it. A 21st level scroll! Remember that shh! It's a shard of magic. Because Lena memed 21. Typed 2 followed by 1 and was like, 21st level scroll! I mean, I was like, yeah, I mean, you do have one of those. Okay, wonderful. $1,125. Level 4 scrolls are worth 700 GP each. They're worth 375 each. Are worth 150 each. Let's see. 25, you are correct. It's also what I had, so if you wanted, Cassie, you could walk out of here with 353 first level scrolls. I may allow you to spend, Scrolls Cash on ones. Yes, it has access to Sun Domain. Sunbeam is 2,275 gold pieces. Well, I get the feeling that if we pull one out and we miss with it, they're going to run. Yes, that does make sense. That would suck if... That would be bad if we didn't, yeah. Yes. Don't we intend to, like, kill another vampire? You'd appear halfway through casting. That's a Mila Hela shenaniganery right there! Which I think is just a detonation. I will say this. Sunbeam, if he saves, won't stagger him. Sunburst will stagger him regardless of save. If I remember right, you can't perform any action other than throw a sunbeam without ending the spell, correct? I don't remember how those work. Right. Right, this is the basic version of the scroll, which put... no, beam per 3 caster levels. At 6 level spells, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So this is 3 beams per scroll. 3 beams per scroll. Yeah. Actually, just write this down so we don't need to do this math again. Sunbeams, the Sunbeam scroll is 3, and it's 11d6. It's the level that you get 6th at. 1, 3, 5, 7... Oh! 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. So this is 4 beams at 13d6. No, I pulled the prices out of the book. The prices are pre-calculated in the book. Yes, they have a scroll. They have a scroll for every single spell in the DMG. Every PHB spell has a scroll. 2275. Seventh level spell. DC 20. Yeah. 17 is plus 3, plus 7 levels is 10. Plus 10 base, it's DC 20. I will say that the ones that have the power to return to their coffin, I am doing vampire tiering. Not all of them can return to their coffin and are as difficult to kill. That's valid. Only Cassie can use it. If you fail by 5 or more, I believe. Which means if you roll a 1 or a 2, it eats the scroll. Rune staves only work on your spell list. Gosh. So incredibly stressful. Eight 825. Yes. Neat. I dropped something. Do you want to look through spells and do you want to look through scrolls and wands at DMG 242 DMG 242 has the do you want to look through wands and scrolls while Caspian and Emeris go and do their interlude? Tan, do you like this idea? Okay. Well, in that case, I suppose that we can pick up with Caspian and Emeris. Who are, I think, shopping for staves, as Emeris is like, well, I hope there would be more rune staves that were more useful to you. No, we don't have that many here in Tiras, unfortunately. Well, I suppose we'll just have to find other things later. So, I'm fairly certain that Cassandra and Valent and the kids are somewhat busy at the moment. How would you feel about going and seeing my parents? We'll have to at some point. What about? I'm fairly certain that they'll like you. Especially after what Gawain said, I'm almost certain. Especially after what Gawain said, I'm almost certain. No, I suppose that it's understandable. She will quickly kiss him. They're just my parents. They're not that bad. It's not like we're off to fight Tyrannus again. You look more stressed about this than you did about that. Oh, what could they do? I'm certain that they'll be happy that I've just found someone at all. He won't be. What? What did you just say? She got some of it, but then it was a very circular thing, and what did he just say? Yes, I suppose that would be very awkward, but after he got involved with his different type of magic, he hasn't been around home much. Yes. Besides, you'll get to see some more streams as we walk to the estate. She will take his hand and start leading him. And where would we be if I didn't? Yes, probably. And while that's fine and good, doing things is fun at times. Besides, this way we'll have a whole lake to ourselves. And an imp. Emeris will go ahead and start to lead Caspian out of the city. As they can head further out from the, not quite suburb, but non-downtown region of Tyrus. Further out through the more scattered houses, and then all the way out to the outer areas of the Hex, where the outer areas of the Hex, which have been seen before, with the rolling grassy hills, the glades of trees, and dotted streams across the landscape, with the mostly straight but curvy and naturalistic paths that lead throughout the area. We never did find out if there were fae in the glades, did we? I'm not going to offer, because then you'll use it to get out of meeting my parents. She gives him a knowing look and kisses, like, the side of his head. When I want them to, perhaps? You don't tend to have very many evil machinations. Personally, I like you this way. Is there any particular reason? We will have to come up with something mean to do to him. Oh, dear. Now I have been forced to picture either somehow me ending up where you were going to fall, or a floor made of asses, which is worse. What? Why do you have that? You know what? Alright. She'd have to have stolen all of it. Perhaps that's a good idea. Perhaps we should take his hair. Perhaps we should take his feet then. Fair enough. No, he'd like that. That could work. But that wouldn't be terrifying enough. And then he'd just think it was an... Well, because it can't be good-naturedly enough or he'll continue the joke and he'll do something else to us. And that would work. Well, if it would be enough to get it back at him, according to you. No, probably not. We could try to steal his hands. Although hands are significantly more problematic than feet. Oh, no, it's a quite clever trick. If you cast particular portals just over perhaps his ankles, then his feet end up with us, away from his body. And he can't get them back. Hands have the ability to move on their own if not connected to an arm. Feet don't, really. Oddly enough, given that they're what you walk on. It's very inconvenient and quite disconcerting. Perfect for getting back at someone. It's less of a prank and more of payback. That's the thing, I don't want a prank war with him. I suppose that's true. Find something about his to laugh about. Perhaps his horrible taste in shoes. That would also work, although Amada doesn't seem to speak over much. Wonderful. Do that then. tots. And calling children tots. He would most likely start doing it. Wonderful. Gosh. Dunking on the kids all day. Good. Well, with the dunking sorted, they can go ahead and continue to make their way out towards the Varlance estate. It's most noticeable because it has a tall tower. A tall tower back behind the large manor. And beyond that, you can see the griffins and hippogriffs circling the area behind. Unlike the other buildings around here, which generally don't have much movement or much things, well, flying around them. There are you can see several griffins flying through the air. The manor itself is a wide, not overly tall building. It goes to at most 3, maybe 4 floors. But it's mostly just sort of a sprawling building that extends horizontally quite a ways. You can see the tower further back, and as you get closer and can see more clearly, there is a wide fence around the building that continues further to either side, and then back quite a ways. As you are in the distance, as you crest a hill and can see over the building somewhat, you can see smaller buildings in the back, barns or stabling areas for the various griffins, as well as a bunch of horses. As well as several horses and quite a few cattle. Emeris could explain some of this if you'd like, or you can just sort of carry on in towards the house. She will continue to lead you towards the front of the house, where you arrive at the grand doors. They're massive, white marble with grayer stone flanking it to make up the doorway, with large knockers in the shape of the Varlance crest on the doors. Griffins with rings on front of them that can be knocked against them. Emeris has a key that she has in her left hand, but just sort of puts it away and reaches up towards the door and knocks on, and uses the ring to knock on the knocker. Inside the building, you can hear the loud echoing of the magically enhanced knock before Emeris calls, "I'm home!" A minute or two pass, before eventually the door opens to reveal two people who look quite a bit like Emeris, unsurprisingly. Her father is a somewhat large man who is wearing clothing, but it's made of a fairly tough leather. It looks like noble's clothing that is made of brown leather. He also has large pads on either of his shoulders. He has brown hair like Emeris that just covers his head and down his back, and he has a beard, and it has a not large but full beard around his chin and up into a mustache. He's somewhat quite tall, in contrast to Emeris's mother, who's shorter than her. She's about as tall as Cassie, or maybe shorter than that. She's shorter than Cassie. Emeris gets her size from her father. Her mother's 5'2". Her father has warm... Her father has warm brown eyes, but her mother has the blue eyes that Emeris has. She's wearing a red dress, but not a modest one, or a plain one, but a more standard one, if that makes sense. Just a standard red dress of well-make. It's Teresian quality. It is made of silk, or at least partially made of silk. As they will see Emeris, and her father cheers and just sort of leans forward and wraps her in a massive hug. She giggles slightly before releasing them and just patting him on his shoulder, and as her mother comes up to hug her as well, as they open the second door and wave Caspian into the large, wide entryway. It's long, extending backward with marble floors and white stone, also possibly marble, but it has flecks in it, walls, with busts and stands of various displays leading backward with large pieces of art hung on the walls. Emeris, it's wonderful that you're home. We haven't seen you in so long. Would you mind coming with us over here for a moment? What? I suppose, all right. You're Caspian, aren't you? It is nice to meet you as well. One moment. And he will lead Emeris off to a side room, where Emeris is somewhat confused, as both her mother and father's eyes will glow blue. Which... As Emeris is somewhat confused and then starts to realize, oh, that's an arcane sight, as both of her parents just erupt in laughter, and her father, clutching his chest and doubling over as Emeris is even more confused and starts to walk back towards the entryway with Caspian. As, her parents will go ahead and follow her, still laughing somewhat. I'm very sorry about that. We had to make sure you hadn't charmed her. Charmed me? Why would he have... Well, you... No, actually, the letter she sent. Well, what? You had her giggling like a schoolgirl. Emeris seems to realize, and she starts to turn red as her two parents look at each other. A wonderful bard with good standards, talented musician, great duelist, wonderful, caring, and kind, magically skilled and talented, as Emeris is just slowly turning red and kind of turning beet red and sort of... You're turning beet red and is like trying to restrain the impulse to try and hide behind Caspian. Oh, don't worry, we're not even half done. I'm remembering quite a few things now. Do you think we should carry on, dear? I don't know. They seem to be enjoying it. Well, of course he would. He tells the most wonderful of stories. I'm honestly surprised that he doesn't... I'm honestly surprised that he doesn't know, given that he's possessing of great insight and gracious restraint. Apparently, even Professor Calorak likes him. Well, that makes sense, given that he's a accomplished historian. No, dear, you had that one wrong. It was knowledgeable historian. Right, yes, knowledgeable historian. Don't forget kind and caring. Trustworthy, that one was mentioned at least 4 times. So how are the two of them doing? Can you elaborate some? Because there could be a couple dyings. Emeris looks even more embarrassed because she doesn't normally describe people like that. I'm so very sorry. As the two of them continue to list off quite a few more, as that's not half... I wasn't joking, that's not half the list. Emeris will attempt to distract both of them by starting up in the telepathic bond. I'm so very sorry. I might have been somewhat giddy at the time. I think I meant to. I think you were asleep. Yes, No, I think that it's that they've been hoping that I'd do something like this since I was about 14, and I haven't, and I said I wouldn't, and serves the most wondrous of breakfasts. And Father, please, can we, would you like to move on? Have you had anything to eat yet? I know that breakfast was probably good, but I suppose it's around lunchtime by now. Lionel! And she'll slap, Vivian will slap Lionel's, forearm. She's obviously overly embarrassed and she wants to get on to something else. I suppose I don't see a good reason that we shouldn't, talk to her and Caspian, as apparently he's befriended both the Fae and the dwarves. It sounds like quite an interesting story that he could tell us. Yes. Well, at least it sounds like I did a good sell. They can go ahead and, Lionel seems to turn to leave as Vivian just, like, looks at him and says, we'll go ahead and we'll head to the dining room. Feel free to meet us there when you're ready. And she will turn and lead her husband, who is, like, he's not Benji size, but he's, like, Benji at 80% scale. You know? Tiny smaller than Cassie Woman, just sort of, like, takes his hand and leads him away before he can suggest that the two of you follow them in order to continue the grilling and laughing. Which leaves the two of you in the impressive but now empty entryway with each other. Well, that happened. Yes. Emeris is, like, rubbing the back of her neck. They might. I don't know. If they would, they did, but they didn't seem to mind over much. Besides, it's less of a magical effect and more soul intertwining. It's odd old devil magic. It's harder to notice. It's not a telepathic bond spell. The two of Caspian and Emeris are just inherently linked, such that they can hear what each other are thinking. Would you guys like a complete list of the things that Emeris included in the letter? Yes, I did. Would you guys like them? Drunk on the fact that she can actually trust him after the RP. Should I cast haste on it so that we have more time to think and get over this before we meet them? Haste, it speeds up your body, but also your perception. She's suggesting that she cast that to make time go slower so that you have more time to calm down. Okay, she's just going to quietly cast haste to slow down times to about 75% so that you guys could, take a breath and calm down a bit. So, would you two like the full list of adjectives? Emeris is like, I'll give you time to read them. Not very many. Not many. It was originally a letter to her parents, which is something that... Yes, It's something that... Yes, I'm sorry. There are, but... It... Most Tiresians think of Tiresians as the human Tiresians. It's a phrase. Emeris will send these to Caspian as best as she can remember. I did manage to leave some things out. She looks around embarrassedly. Adoring and gentle. I think I also wrote part of a line about how nice your eyes are. I removed that too. Yes. I thought it was a bit much, so I did, leave that one out. Yes. I was trying to sell you to them. I suppose I wasn't, like... I think I've managed to do both. I think I've managed to do both. They certainly seem to like you. Oh, my father is always like that, and my mother will go along about half the time. Stop him because it's... Oh, stop him to be nice to the other people? Perhaps. No, I don't think he'd care over much. He's not personally connect. If I introduced him as one of my friends, he would. He very much would. Yes. That is a good idea. if there's any questions you'd like to ask or tips or anything. I don't think they'll probably want to ask you most of the questions once we go to the dining room. No, not in particular. Aside from the obvious one. I don't think so, no. You do know what I mean by the obvious one? Sends a flurry of bond engagement. Yeah, yes. All right. I was. Wait, which part? The bond? Or the night in the tavern? You were less drunk to begin with. Yes, that was the bigger thing. Other than the fact that we're seeking their approval a bit late, no, nothing. To be honest, they'll be happy if things move quickly afterward. Like I've mentioned, they've been sort of hoping I'd find someone for quite some time. A few years ago, they actually suggested that me and Gawain might get in a platonic marriage so that people would stop coming after us. He's also from a family and also hasn't been particularly interested in anyone, and so our parents talked it over and thought that perhaps they'd recommend it as we were by far closest to each other. Neither of us were particularly... Anyway, that's how much they've been leaning on me, so... I suppose less so for the Sianas, but it's expected. Particularly because I don't think they want my brother to be inheriting, but if I don't have children, then he sort of has to by default. Oh, me getting a separate peerage may also mess that up. Oops. Well, shall we go and meet them? She'll go ahead and take Caspian's hand and lead him to the dining room. Yes. That would be bad. It would. Yes, you would, and then you'd both, like, be dissolved into dying messes again, and then you'd have to leave and come back, and... Well... she can go ahead and lead you through the halls, which are equally impressive, with art, many statues of griffins, and other similar things. Before you to a large, not opulent but well-made mahogany dining table with, not with this sort of black, I don't know how to describe it, but like a coating around the outside made of stone. So the set, like, you know how, like, there's the table frame, which is one thing, and then the center of the table, which is another thing? The center of the table is mahogany, and the rest of it is stone. With well-made mahogany chairs around it as they're sitting at the opposite end of the table and just sort of beckon the two of you forward to come and sit with them. Emeris will let Caspian sit closer to them as they're sitting together at the end of the table, and Emeris and Caspian can sit to the right. As you will take your seats, and the two of them will turn to you. Well, no one was starting first, so I suppose I will. Caspian, it's wonderful to meet you. He will hold out his hand to shake. Valid! He's just also stressed. Well, it's very nice to have... that Emeris has found someone to her liking. We were sort of... we weren't really expecting it. To be completely honest, and Vivian tosses him a look, but he just plows on through anyway. To be completely honest, we're quite happy that you're not how was it? Some sort of... You're far better than we were expecting her to bring back after she left Tyrus looking for someone half decent. Some sort of rural... well, some sort of mundane, standard noble who was puffed up on his own importance and didn't know what was going on. The way that he says mundane is very Teresian. As in, like, mundane as in dull. And Vivian is just giving him this look of, really? So you've more than exceeded our expectations. Father! Well, what did you think we would think? Hmm? Wonderful. I would have been shocked if you'd done any less. Hmm? Wonderful. Those men could, from what I hear, those men could do with a knocking on their pride. Vivian... Sorry. Leonel... No, Mother, he's right. He's right. Well, alright then. So, tell us about yourself. Emeris starts blushing again. We've heard of her. Although we hadn't heard so much of that, Emeris hasn't been sending us very many letters lately. Emeris. They are not normally. I've just been. Because we've been with each other since we met. Leonel is going to just lean over to Caspian and pat him on his shoulder. Anyone who can get that reaction out of her without getting stabbed instead is someone I approve of. And he will lean back in his seat. He's just like, I have passed my verdict. Vivid is just like, really? Really? No, less that's your standard and more already? Seriously? Are you not even going to pretend to... We've heard some of Cassandra, just not that you were traveling with her. Not a lot, but we do know of her. We're not particularly interested in the politics of South Derium, except that perhaps she might calm down North Derium's anger. They've been somewhat miffed. About the Sands thing. Caspian knows that they blame terrorists for... Yeah. Well, that's certainly good. A few Siennas have been through the city, and they seem to... And I've heard good things about them, although I never met them myself. Smash cut to Teddy. Turns around to kick shoes. Smash cut back. Varied family. Well, I've heard... It sounds like only the... Perhaps then only some of the better Siennas have gone to Terrace. I haven't heard many poor things about them. Not many people who choose... Oh. Well-mannered? That was one of the first things that she specified after mentioning that you were a bard and a Sienna, was that you were the well-mannered type. Vivian starts to say something before he continues. That was one of the other things that we were worried about. Father, I would not... And he just smiles and leans further back in his chair. Gosh. What did you think of the city? To be honest, not many people who don't intend on staying actually reach the center. They just see it from the outskirts of the central city and are generally somewhat intimidated by it. Lionel's just like is just nodding like good, good. I see. Even Lionel, with his sort of aloof attitude, seems impressed by the going to the ruins of Denarius, both because you managed it and because you chose to do that. I may need to reconsider my opinion on this, Cassandra. You didn't have an opinion. You mentioned as much explicitly. Yes, exactly. Emeris just also sighs like, this is normal. Well, I hope you don't mind it overmuch, assuming that you'll be, glances at Emeris, staying here? Well... Emeris? No, Cassandra's, well, as a part of working with Cassandra, she's offered both me and Caspian a peerage. They're adjacent. So you'll be one as they like, you know, continue to look at her where she's like, they're adjacent. The two of them glancing, thinking. And like the, you didn't intend to stay? Oh, wait, crap, that is an acceptable answer. Huh. Well, that's a thing. And they seem to have this silent conversation of, well, that's a thing. And Leonel's like, And Vivian's like, well, it wouldn't have anything to do with Caspian. It's just that our daughters signed up to join a revolution coup thing. Reconquest? Reconquest. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. And it's not like we want to stop her from getting, like, her own separate peerage, even if it's not in Tyrus. Yeah. Well, that does make perfect sense, being awarded a significant portion of truly yours land, I'm assuming? That's how it works outside of Tyrus, yes? Yes, it does. Although, I suppose it would be under Cassandra, much like it's somewhat under the Council, but less so. They look at each other and just sort of nod. Nod of, yeah, that's interesting. But it's a good place. Like, having a lake is a good thing. Oh, do you mean the lake, the new one? Wonderful! That seems like a wonderful position to be set up, what with all of the traffic. As Vivian looks at him and they're like, oh, your business is kicked in. And, like, there's this communal, like, understanding throughout the family that Emeris forwards to Caspian if necessary, of the, like, oh, he's thinking that you're there because, like, all of the trade will be going across the lake, and you could, like, tax that or something. That's a wonderful place. I like that decision. That's a good decision. Emeris and Caspian, I mean, like, yeah, that's nice, but we also just wanted the lake. Agreed. Well! Alright, I've made my decision. You said as much. But, and he will stand, and he'll, like, lean forward and then stand up from his chair, and look at Caspian, and, like, glower at him somewhat intimidatingly. There is one more trial you must pass. Come, let us see if the Griffins like you, and he will wave you forward and just walk out of the room. He's Emeris over the bond. He's always like this. Wonderful. And he will lead Caspian out back to come and meet the various Griffins that they raise. He'll show them off, and it's part is seeing if the Griffins like him. You can roll animal handling, but he's Caspian. They're at the least cool with him. Sort of, you know, like, here, have Griffins, be impressed, and also just sort of showing off the Griffins. They also have a few hippogriffs, because why not? And he'll mention that the other animals are food for the Griffins. The cows, because... Okay, well, in that case, I suppose I'll have to actually describe it as you walk up to the paddock. You see the creature with the body of a lion, but the head, with the front talons, head, and wings of an eagle, and just looks at you and... I cannot make that bird screech. I just can't. No, it's the much shriller one, like the eagle, like, not quite... No, like I almost want to call it a war cry, but that's not what it is. Do you know what I mean? That one. Yes. Uh-huh. Also showing them off, and he'll mention that the other animals are food for the Griffins. Cows, because they're less intelligent, and that's actually one of the biggest ones. They feel less bad. And somewhat cheaper, and horses, because horses are a Griffin's favorite food. Yep. The horses are treats. The good ones get sold off to other people to rear them to be good horses. The bad ones and or dumb ones just sort of get to live and sometimes have kids and then are treats for Griffins. Tasty whores. Wait. Because I was trying to say it like horse, but with a Z. Apparently, Emeris will chip in that they make a decent amount of money selling off the bones of the cattle to the various farming necromancers. Shortly after, Lionel will make a point of pointing this out and looking at you to gauge your reaction to farming necromancy, and when you're like, yeah, that's just a thing, he's like, good, okay, we can carry on now. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yes, you pay enough money, and it's like, yeah, that is, you pay money, and it's like, well, that's more work than your skeleton would have done anyway. Yes. Emeris and Leona will sort of make a point of telling it, even though you probably already know, and or it's sort of extraneous information, that the history of necromancy and why people think it's bad, and it's that it's not actually bad, but even to a degree, in Tiris, it's like, well, no, this doesn't do anything bad to the people involved, but it's a sort of NIMBY thing, not in my backyard, so like, yeah, I understand that it doesn't do anything bad to the people involved, but, like, not to me or my dad or, you know? So, because no one wants it to happen to them or the people they're close to, no one wants it to happen to anyone for, like, you know, respect the dead reasons. At which point, there was it was, like, socially unacceptable to do necromancy, at which point the people who would do necromancy were the people who were willing to break the social taboo of, like, not messing with people who, you know, like, it wasn't okay because people didn't want it, and if you're willing to break a not okay thing that people don't want, because people don't want you to do it, what else might you be willing to do? Pretty much! Yeah, pretty much! That and most sentient undead also just sort of hate the living, so there's that. So, you know. But yeah, skeletons are fully disconnected from the souls that previously inhabited them. So, yeah. I think that's going to be the rest of Caspian's day. I think he succeeded as well. Do we want to go ahead and break the recordings here? Alright, we can go ahead and stop the recording here.